Welcome back, Westy here. Okay, we're going to do a little video here on doing the stealth, and also we're going to make sure the heat inserts are done on the Canbus umbilical cord mounting bracket and the Y end stop, which you can either use for an end stop or you can use the circuit board, which is part of the end stop. Leave the cables disconnected. Well, you got to change the cabling around and then reconnect it, just so that you can use the thermistor for the chamber temperature, which we'll go into later. But right, so let's just pop open a little video. Just 1 second. Okay, here we go. So I've done all the inserts. I've already, in a previous video you would have seen we tried to do all of the inserts. We didn't get all of them, but we got most of them. And mainly I did that because I just didn't have the granite top to put the frame together, so I just carried on with what I had, basically. So yeah, just basically showing you all the components that need the inserts done. There's 2 there, there's 2 there, and then there's 2 in the 3 in the back. There's quite a few. 2 in the front, 3 in the back, and then 2 in the side. And that's the Canbus bracket that sits on top of the B motor on the right hand side. On the right hand side. Yeah. So that's you know, when you're looking at the front, it's on the right hand side. This is a little part that goes over the back of the print head and actually holds the bracket for the Canbus, and that's the Y stop assembly there. Your micro switch screws to that, and that pokes through and sits on the outside. That's your Clockwork, one of the Clockworks parts. Another one there, the smaller one. And that's pretty much it as far. So that little bracket there, that's for actually the Canbus itself. So it sits in between the Canbus and the tool head, and it spaces it out just so that you can get some clearance there. Otherwise it'll end up shorting out. So that's what that's for. So I'm just going to open our little bag here and tip all the bits on the ground, basically. So we've got the Clockwork main gear. So your motor drives off that gear, and that's what drives the rest of the system. There's a few spare parts in this little bag that I didn't end up using, and I was trying to figure out what needs to be used and what doesn't need to be used. There's a couple of little anomalies that you need to be aware of, which I'll go through when we come across that. But that spindle and the spring. Oh, so there's 2 shafts there. There's one there, and there's one there. You don't. One of those is not for this kit, so be careful on what you're putting in there. Put a bit of WD-40 penetrate. This is actual oil that I use for 10 speeds and mountain bikes and stuff like that. So light grade 5 just a 5 grade, I think it is. So that just lubricates those roller bearings there, which occasionally need to be greased. So now these parts here are quite tight, and you need to check to make sure that they do go together, so they snap in and they kind of click into place like that. You just hear that click, and that's a good, nice fit. So that screw screws into that brass insert and tightens up on that so that all stays together. So don't over tighten those, it's just plastic, so you know it's ABS plastic, it's quite strong, but it's not absolutely bulletproof, so you just have to nip it up and make it tight. You know, give it, you know, an eighth of a turn, don't go quarter of a turn, just tight. So your little roller bearing goes inside there, and that sits in the gear. So that in between my fingers here, this is where the filament runs through here, and it picks it up and drives it. So let's just let the fingers do the walking, and if I need to stop and chat, we'll stop and chat. So enjoy the music. So what I'm doing there is I'm just undoing it, and I'm just adjusting it to line up with the groove in the plastic housing. So you've got to move the gear to the left or the right to get it to line up perfectly with the little groove that's in the plastic there, so that your filament can run straight through without binding up. Hey, welcome back, Westy here. So we're just going to I'm just going to show you what I was meaning in here. Hopefully we can get it close enough to show you. So there's a groove in the plastic just there, right there where it comes through. That line needs to line up with the actual cutting edge right there. Boom, perfect shot. That's what you're looking for, a perfect alignment like that. So the filament comes down through the top and it should line up perfectly with that gear. So you can adjust it backwards and forwards to get it to line up. It's even better shot. It shows you it coming right through from one side to the other. So well done, Mr. Assistant there. And then it just goes all blurry. Wow, okay. So we're just trying to line that up to get that through the swinging latch. Can't remember what they call that actually. It's got a weird name. But yeah, depending on the print off that you get from your printed forward guys, will depend on whether they've got a little bit tighter holes than normal, because that should just be go straight through and thread into there. But I've actually got to thread it all the way through the part, just a little bit. It's not a lot, but and you just screw that in until it goes tight, and just nip it up till it touches, quarter of a turn, and that's all you need. Don't snap the part in half. If you do it too tight, like I've done there, yeah, so it should be nice and free there, so just nip it up. I'm just backing it off actually until it's free, until it does free up. So yeah, so it's about touch and just between 1/8 and 1/4 of a turn, and that should be nice and free. So I'm just feeding the filament through just to check to make sure that the alignment is 100% correct. So use the filament as a guide as well. But when we looked at that part up nice and close, that was actually beautiful. It was lined up perfectly on both sides of the hole where it comes in and goes out. So maybe it was a bit more luck than management. Okay, so now we're going to screw this whole clockwork unit together. Okay, so we're coming up to a critical part here, and that's adjusting the backlash of the gears. So that's why I've left that motor a little bit loose, because it pivots on one side and it allows you to adjust the backlash. So what you do is you pull it up tight against the gear so that there's no play, and when you try and wiggle the teeth of that big gear backwards and forwards, and you just slightly ease it off until you've just got a fraction of play, so you can just feel it chattering just a little wee bit in your fingers as you move it backwards and forwards. And once you've got that, hold it tight and lock it into position, and then recheck to see if you've got it right. So that's just giving you the rundown, and now you'll see it in action. So now we're putting on the little back cover that goes around the back of the motor, and that basically supplies the mounting point for the Canbus retaining bracket, which you'll see put on later once the Canbus cable gets installed. So one other point is I could have actually put that motor around the other way 180 degrees out with so the cables would have been coming out at about 2 o'clock, and then that will come around the top to plug into the Canbus board. But it didn't give me any trouble coming in the bottom anyway. It didn't come anywhere near the gantry. But yeah, I did see some information later where it's wrapped around the outside coming from the top, and maybe I just didn't pay enough attention. But it works either way. It's actually quite tight to screw this in, so you've just got to be diligent with it and make sure you don't put too much pressure on, but it's screwing into plastic, so it's reasonably tight. As you can see, I'm cranking a bit of energy in there, and then you just nip it up and then back it off 1/4 of a turn. Yeah, it's nice and tight now, so you can't lift it up. It's tight here, so I need to back it off like about 1/4 of a turn. Oh no, just get it butted up, and now it's tight. And now back it off 1/4 of a turn to 1/2 a turn, and that's it, perfect. So that should feel nice and precise when you open and close that tool head lid. It shouldn't feel sloppy, it should feel just nice. So that there is the bracket that holds the, obviously I need to put I forgot to put an insert in there, but basically that holds a bracket that your Canbus retaining bracket sits in, and that allows it to, so when your Canbus cable plugs into the board, this little part screws in and locks the cable into place so that when the head's moving around it doesn't fly out and lose all contact, because that would be bad. So yeah, so there's another little part that goes on that's got a groove in it that sits over the top of the Canbus cable and locks it all in place, which I had to modify unfortunately, but hey, it is what it is. So I'm just going to put that in now. So that probes its temperature. Don't leave it proud, just make sure you get it either flush or just a little under. That's flush right there, or just a fraction under. And that's good to go. Square it up a bit. That's it. So that bracket will just go straight onto there and screw in with a little N3 by 6mm. Notice I've left the long shaft there. Make sure all the mechanisms work nice and smooth and don't wind up. Just clicks in nicely. And that is, as they say, that. So that's the Clockwork 2 done. So we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so that's the end of this video. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, please comment below. If you've got any suggestions or information that you'd like to share, more than happy to check it out. So smash the like, hit the subscribe and ring the bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, Westy over and out.